Welcome to the BEASTwriter Family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and welcome to the BEASTwriter Family on this Christmas Day. Feliz Navidad to all of you guys. Merry Christmas and what other holiday you guys celebrate on this day. It's a good day. So I just wanted to do a Christmas special. There's been a lot of questions that have been floating around on my Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. A lot of DMs, a lot of interaction here, and I said, you know what, I'm going to hop on this Christmas because I know a lot of you guys are with your families and friends, and so I said, you know what, might as well just do a Christmas special YouTube episode just specifically for you guys. So, whether it be my BWF grading system, who was a Pro Bowl snub as I gained pulse around the whole entire NFL, or whether it's not, my predictions when it comes to who's going to win the NFC West? Who's going to win the AFC West? Who's going to win the AFC North? Right? We're going to talk about all those things here on this Christmas special edition. So again, happy holidays to each and every one of you. Hope you guys are having fun eating lots of delicious food, homemade food, obviously. Or you can get it catered. I actually spent time in Sacramento last week. I was talking to Raruna about this, who is a huge supporter here in the BWF, who we kind of got to know each other through YouTube. So thank you, YouTube, for that. But he lives literally down the street from my cousin, like walking distance. And so I told him, I was like, hey, I was going to stop by your house. He's like, oh, man, I wasn't home. I was like, nah, you actually weren't home because there's no cars in the driveway. So I know you're not lying. No, I'm joking. He's like, hit me up when you come here. And I didn't do it because we were short on time. But Runa, if you're watching, happy holidays to you and your family. You guys are nothing but huge supporters here in the BWF. Tommy Huxley says, what's up, Beast? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays to you and your family. So, I don't know how to get started on this. I think we know where this is going. The first topic of conversation on YouTube that I posted in the description box was John Lynch's Twitter handle and John Lynch's account and why he liked that tweet. For those who don't know, if you guys have a Twitter, go on Twitter right now, and there's just everyone's talking about it. It's on ESPN. Nick Wagner, a beat reporter for the San Francisco 49ers for ESPN, wrote a story on it. Basically, John Lynch liked a tweet during Mass while he was at church that well, I'm just gonna read it because I don't know what else to say. Anyways, it was a GIF, all right, that Love T put up. Love T is Twitter handles at 40TEE9ER. I want to give you a shout out for putting this up, and then it actually got a lot of traction. Everyone's talking about it, including ESPN. It shows a plane leaving Nashville, and in the caption, Love T, or I should say 40T9er says, leave Jimmy in Nashville, and he tags Matt Mayoko, John Lynch, and 49ers tweets. What happened was John Lynch liked that tweet. I can tell you a story right now before going in to whether or not I believe John Lynch or not. Is I was telling my good friend What's Up G in here, who's also a huge supporter here. He's one of our moderators here. And of course, I met him also on YouTube. Became really good friends now. There was a 49ers executive a few years back when I was a beat writer, and he liked tweets, and he didn't know that they were public. So I had to go tell him. I was like, hey, bro, like, your tweets are public. Your likes are public. He's like, oh, really? I thought they were private. I was like, no, man, they're public. He's like, oh, and then he started unliking things. Luckily, no one caught it. I'm not going to call out or name the exec, but it's not the first time this has happened. All right? So that's why you got to be careful about Twitter. That's why you got to be careful about social media, not just from a management standpoint to the players, but vice versa, right? Because if you're the face of the franchise, everything's under a microscope. And whether or not you liked the tweet or not, that's really anyone's... yes, I will give John Lynch the benefit of the doubt, maybe. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe. And I say maybe because you liked that tweet, and for you to unlike the tweet after you were probably getting notifications on everything, like, oh man, I didn't know it was public. Or maybe you thought it was private. But it's anyone's guess. The fact of the matter remains that Jimmy Garoppolo had a bad game in Nashville. He threw 2 interceptions, and we're going to talk about that in detail as I watched Coach's film early this morning on Christmas Day. There's no days off for Beast. And I always live by the motto, unleash your inner beast, right? But the grind doesn't stop, the journey never ends, and the beast never quits, right? So you guys know, here I am doing this Christmas special. I told my man, what's up, Jez? Hey, man, I'm going to hop on, talk to my moderators, like, go on, we got you. So here we are. But getting back to John Lynch's tweet, it's very, very controversial in the sense that, look, you're in the middle of a playoff hunt, and for you to like a tweet, whether or not you butt dial, hey, look, we all done it. We all butt dialed somebody, right? And be like, oh man, I didn't mean to butt dial you. Or you send text messages or DMs to people and you think that you're talking about somebody, and yet, or talking to somebody, I should say, and yet you realize like, oh crap, that was supposed to be meant for someone else. And then you're like, oh shoot, like I can't really say I didn't say it because it's there. Everyone's human, no one is perfect, but I will say this. The fact that John Lynch liked that tweet, whether it was a butt dial or a push notification on the butt, why are you on your cell phone during mass anyways? I'm joking. I've done it. I think we've all have done there, been on our phones during. I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. During church, yes. I am guilty of it. Guilty as charged. Praise the Lord. But, which by the way, I am Christian, so. Birth of Jesus. Getting back to it though. It is interesting to point out that John Lynch's Twitter, and then he goes on and then he apologizes for the tweet. For liking the tweet. It's not like he tweeted it. He apologizes for the tweet and he says, actually now that I'm looking at my GIF back to to BR Gridiron, Bleacher Report Gridiron was I had the GIF where John Lynch is actually liking it. Kind of got some traction there. Anyways, as I'm going through here, I'm such a douche. Just joking. All right. So John Lynch actually, this is what he said. All right, John Lynch. This is what John Lynch said in response to that tweet. Apparently, while in Christmas Eve Mass with my family, I don't doubt that. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not there. I'll take your word for it, John. I accidentally and unknowingly liked a tweet. I unknowingly liked a tweet. Never intended to, and remain a huge believer in Jimmy. Merry Christmas to everyone. Here's the devil's advocate to that tweet. One, you're digging yourself a bigger grave, John. You should have just left it alone, just unliked it, and you didn't have to respond. Because by you saying you're a huge firm believer in Jimmy, then why did you draft Trey Lance? Let's keep it 100. If you're his words, I'm a huge believer in Jimmy. Look, if I'm a huge believer in somebody, if someone's a huge believer in me, like, why would you draft somebody to take my place if you're a huge believer in me? For one more year. Come on, bro. No. The Dikembe Mutombo wave is going like this. You feel me? You cannot say that. You cannot go and say you're a huge believer in Jimmy, even if it is for one more year. Because at the end of the day, you drafted Trey Lance. Come on, let's not forget, homeboy. And if you're a huge firm believer in Jimmy Garoppolo, there wouldn't be all this toxicity, if that's even a word, in the locker room. Because there's I talked about it, the locker room dynamic, how that's going to, people still love Jimmy, other people want to roll at Lance. You cannot say you're a huge firm believer in Jimmy, especially after what happened in Nashville. Let's talk about that. All right. The first interception with Jack Rabbit Jenkins, who formerly is known as Janoris Jenkins, right? You guys remember him? He played with the St. Louis Rams in the Nfc West, right? He got burned by Brandon Lloyd for that big touchdown in St. Louis during those early years where Brandon Lloyd was on the San Francisco 49ers as a fourth-round pick out of Illinois. And I wrote up an article saying Janoris Jenkins goes rogue, even before Marcus Peters was born. I shouldn't say born, but in the league. I said, watch, Brandon Lloyd's going to beat him on a double move, because Brandon Lloyd's a smart route runner. Boom, what happened? Got beat on a double move. Janoris Jenkins comes back. All right, now he's on the Tennessee Titans. It was a cover 4 coverage. You can call it cover 2. It looked to me like cover 4 because you had 3 underneath defenders. One played the curl flat route. Janoris Jenkins was playing with outside leverage. All right, he's playing with outside leverage. And what happened now that Jimmy Garoppolo interception was he was playing with outside leverage, and George Kittle, right? George Kittle knew that he had inside leverage, and he tried to box out Jackrabbit Jenkins, which is a win 9 times out of 10. It's a win 9 times out of 10 because Janoris Jenkins is not the tallest guy, and George Kittle's George Kittle. All right, that's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, if I went up against George Kittle, I'd lose 1,000 out of 1,000 times. It is what it is. One, because I'm only 5'5", and he's like, what, 6'3". But with that being said, boxed out Janoris Jenkins, but Jimmy Garoppolo made the ill-advised throw of telegraphing that pass, and Janoris Jenkins was right on the hip of the receiver. Anytime you're in a trail mode, slightly on the hip of the receiver, at the catch point is where that defensive back is going to make a play on the football. And right there, he didn't undercut the route, obviously, because undercutting would mean he would get it before the catch point. But once the ball arrived at what we like to call the reception point, right? It's called the reception point. Janoris Jenkins made a nice play on the ball. So in that circumstance, I can see why Jimmy Garoppolo would make that throw to a security blanket, George Kittle, because that's the only freaking read that he has other than Deebo Samuel doing the window shopping and a lot of gadget plays. You can't do that in the playoffs, all right? That's mistake number 1. Then we can talk about Rashaan Evans dropped INT. All right, that was mistake number 2. Well, that was mistake number 3. Number 2 was, and I have it on my notes as I watch coaches film, and this is not a knock on Jimmy. Look, this is live to play another down, Jimmy, and you're not doing it, Jimmy. But it feels great, Jimmy, you know what I mean? Like, it feels great. Let's go, baby. Come on. Come on, Jimmy. I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's one of those professional guys, both on and off the football field. I'm joking right now, but slightly joking, but keeping it 100 at the same time. All right, so you look at those interceptions that he had, and it's just like, what the heck are we working with, bro? All right, so that's why when John Lynch liked the tweet after the game, it was almost like, well, yeah, he's up in the press box looking at this like, bro, it was a quarter's coverage, and why would you throw that pass to George Kittle when Jackrabbit Jenkins was on the hip of George Kittle? Even though George Kittle can box him out, that was a poorly thrown ball. In fact, if you're going to box out a smaller defensive back like that, George Kittle, it's not George Kittle's fault because he probably wasn't even expecting that ball. He's like, there's no way that Jimmy Garoppolo's going to throw that. And he did. What if, luckily, the safety didn't climb down and pick it off to undercut it? That would have been pick 6. Because he's telegraphing his passes. You cannot telegraph passes, bro. Like, you can't stare down receivers and telegraph. What the are you doing? Now, it's easy for me to say, could I play quarterback in the NFL? No, but that's not my job, is it? No, I don't get paid millions of dollars to do it. I get paid to talk about it. Jimmy Garoppolo, you need to make smart decisions, better decisions. And I had your back, and I still have your back for a lot of the times because I think a lot of it has to do with the byproduct of obviously not having Elijah Mitchell back there. Obviously, Raheem Mostert's out. Your offensive line has been crapola. Yes, we know about freaking Trent Williams. Cool story. Yes. Okay, cool. But that offensive line is not as good as people make it out to be based on the scheme. The zone blocking scheme where the blocks are already dictated for the runner. That's why you can plug me at running back and I can get 5 to 6 yards of carry simply because I don't have to have the vision to see the hole and hit the hole. It's a one cut back system. All right. I don't have to do a lot of dancing in the background. So, for that matter, John Lynch and your tweet, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt simply because, hey, we all have made mistakes in the past. I'm not here I'm not gonna troll you, John Lynch, but I will keep it 100, thinking it is interesting that you liked it and then unliked it and then responded to it. I think the last thing you should have did was respond to it. You shouldn't have responded to it. That's dumb. Like, I shouldn't say that's dumb because that's me. Because I think for PR purposes, obviously, because I work with the Niners, PR purposes probably were like, Mike was probably like, you know what, you should probably put something out there just trying to clear the air. If it did happen, or did it? I don't know. I'm not gonna accuse anyone because I'll be accusing someone of lying, and I'm not gonna do that. I think it's interesting though. If it was me and if I was the PR, I would be like, you know what, you liked it, just unlike it and just leave it at that. Don't respond to it because then that's gonna get traction. So now you're just like digging. That way, it's almost like silence is golden, right? Just unlike it. It's good. Anyways, I don't know. We have my man Maruna Pereira in the house. Maruna, what's going on, bro?
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Even not sure whether you are celebrating or not, but still want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
For what? Celebrating what?
I'm not sure whether you are celebrating Christmas or not, but just want to wish.
Oh, I am celebrating Christmas. Yes, I am celebrating Christmas. Yes, thank you
So
for that.
then, Merry Christmas to everyone, you and the BEASTwriter family.
How have you been? I was telling them on this live stream how I passed by your house and there was no cars.
Yeah.
You're probably like, Beast is coming. Let's hide all the cars in the garage.
No, we took a vacation. We went to Bodega Bay, then Point Arena. So we just spent like around 5-6 days away that area.
Must be nice. Must be nice. What do you
It's
think
nice,
about? Huh?
but
It's
cold.
nice, but what?
But it's cold.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yes.
I know you have. I know you have some analysis on this. What do you think of John Lynch just freaking liking a tweet with a heart? With a
I
heart.
think
Tinder it up. Let's Tinder it up.
I like it. I like it because now I'm not a Christian or Catholic, right? But in Sri Lanka, when I grew up, it was a mixed culture. My wife is Catholic, I'm a Buddhist, but everything. But we all believed in Santa, probably around, let's say, until I was like 10 years old. But then the concept is no more natural. It's not practical. But after yesterday, I again believe in Santa because of John Lynch. He is Santa.
I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet.
Right? Because imagine how much he gives you
Yeah.
all around the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and I said this earlier, and I know you were tuning in the green room, but listen to this. If it was me and I was in charge of whatever, if I had advice as a friend to GM John Lynch, I would say, you know what? You liked it. Don't unlike it because that's going to get more traction. Just leave it. Or if you do decide to unlike it, just stay silent. Don't give the fans any more ammo because the fans are going to eat this up. Grant's going to eat this up. Everyone's going to eat this up and spin it however they want to spin it. I'm serious. You know it.
Yes.
And that's where this is going because now you just dug yourself a bigger hole. And for you, it's not you're admitting a mistake, right? It's not like you're admitting a mistake or admitting fault. It's more like, look, it happened, but I'm not going to do anything about that. Like, it's cool, whatever. Like, if people want to, they can assume things, right? When you assume, you make a but or ASS out of you and me. Don't assume things. You never want to assume things. But when you do that and then you come back again and double down on those gains by saying, oh, I'm a firm believer in Jimmy. It's like, and then I can come back and say, well, if you're such a firm, huge believer in Jimmy, then why'd you draft Trey Lance?
I mean, that's what the weirdest part, right? Because he was saying, I was at the church with my family.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you checking Twitter if you are at church? If you are at church with your family?
Yeah, I do it though too. When I go to church, I'll be honest. God is my witness. I honestly, I will, because I'll be like, you know what? Like if I'm in church on a Sunday, which is not actually, I haven't been going to church on. I usually go on Saturdays because of football. But if I'm on church on Saturday, even I'm looking at college football, right? I'm like, like how's my Roll Tide Roll team doing? You know, how's Alabama doing? How's the SEC? How's my friends who coach there doing? At LSU, Auburn, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's really interesting. I think when you're in our line of business, you always have to be on your phone. And anybody who you date, anybody who is in your life, anybody who, whether it be family, friends, whatever the case may be, they have to understand that, look, we are glued to our phones because this is our lifeline. This is what we do. And for anyone, if you can't understand that, you're not going to understand the grind. Because in order to get to the place that, I can't speak for anyone else, but from where I'm in, look, there's been countless times where at birthday, Christmas, I'm on my phone, and that's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I understand that. But at the same time, John Lynch, he's a professional. He's the GM of San Francisco 49ers. So he has to think twice. let's assume that he thought, okay, now I need to clear this up. I need to come up with some kind of
Yeah,
excuse. Then do it in the correct way, professional way. That's why they are paying you millions of dollars, right?
that's true.
Because that's your job. Because
It'd be,
all
I talk
year he's screwing things up.
right.
He, I mean, imagine the things that he told about Fred Warner, right?
Hmm.
He was kind of like the backbone of your defense, the leader, the
Yeah,
last year. I mean, even last year, for example, Nick
yeah,
Bosa, he got injured. That's fine, but there were other players. All these other players, even Kittle was not injured at times. He wasn't a leader. Fred Warner was the only leader that I saw last year who
right.
came up and said, "We can't do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
We have to do something different. This football team needs to execute better, do things better if we
Hmm.
want better results."
Right.
You are throwing that guy under the bus, just saying, okay. I mean, it's okay for us to fans because
Yeah.
we are fans. We can
Yeah.
make allegations, say Fred Warner is not playing well or Jimmy Garoppolo is not playing well because we are fans. But as the GM, you have a separate job.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure because if you think about it, who is playing better this year? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo or Fred Warner? You are throwing Fred Warner under the bus, still saying, "Okay, I believe in Jimmy, Lord Jimmy, and what not that."
Yeah.
I can't understand the
Hmm.
professionalism of these individuals.
I just
They
think
do really make it.
yeah, it's just it's one of those things, man. And again, this is all about the tweet. Like I talked to a few friends who work in Silicon Valley who are in the PR, right? I'm not going to name them or throw them under the bus, but you can kind of pick you guys. I think some of you guys know who they are. They're pretty big time people. They said the same thing. They said, "Hey, Beast," I said, "Wouldn't you?" And I gave him my analysis. Wouldn't you just tell John Lynch not to tweet anything out, just kind of like unlike it, and just let everyone else just kind of ride that wave, however they want to spin it? And they're like, "Yeah, because silence is golden." You're right, and so that's why I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna go on this live stream and talk about this." It's yeah, I don't know what else to say. Now, everyone can. I'm not saying what John Lynch did was wrong, because if that's in fact what happened, then yes.
Yes,
But
exactly. But let me ask you something totally different. I mean, that's kind of depressing, right? I'm going to ask you few questions. You need to give me answers without thinking too much. Okay?
I
You
don't
can't think
think at
too much.
all.
Okay.
I just
So,
say I'm
who is
joking.
the
I'm
best
joking.
wide receiver right now in football? Best wide receiver right now in football.
In where? Sorry. In
Best wide receiver in
re-
football right now.
oh, in
Best,
football,
yes.
Debo Samuel. I think
Okay.
it's Debo Samuel. I think it's
Okay.
Debo Samuel for a number of different reasons, and it's funny you mentioned this because a scout, an NFL scout, who's my friend, I had a conversation. We were catching up during Christmas break, obviously, and he asked me that same question. He's like, "Hey, Beast, what do you think? Who do you think the best wide receiver in the NFL is?" And he said, obviously the consensus is Cooper Cup. And I don't throw crap out there just to throw crap out there. All right, here's my line of thinking with that. When I look at a wide receiver in my BWF grading system, I look at a lot of different factors other than catching and receiving football. I look at how the guy blocks, does he spring his receivers, how you can use him in a variety of different roles, and how that changes up the scheme for the opposing defense week in and week out. When you game plan for Debo Samuel, you don't know how much focal point of the game plan he's going to be used in the run game. By default, now you're putting a defensive front seven in a bind because now they have to go over protections on the back end because, hey, look, if it's a play action pass and you have Debo Samuel back there, all of a sudden now they're sunk inside. Now you're playing play action pass. Now you have to now you're playing one step behind. That's just one thing out of the situation, out of the equation. Now, Cooper Kupp is having one hell of a year. He should be an MVP candidate, no doubt about it. Leads the league in receiving touchdowns, receiving yards. He's going for the Triple Crown. But what I'm saying is, look, I look at it, okay, how is he as a blocker? Does he block? He blocks, but is he as good as Debo Samuel? I mean, to me, I know I'm being biased because obviously no crap, but Debo Samuel to me, especially when it comes to bringing him down, and there's been argument about this, right? Oh, who's the best yards after contact or, yards after the catch? I think it's Debo Samuel. When you see what Debo Samuel does, he's a lot better because what happens was is when, if you watch game film and coaches film, you'll notice Cooper Kupp, when he makes players miss, which is a good thing, force missed tackles, whatever the case may be in your grading system, PFF if you're watching, force missed tackles, okay, cool story. I have force missed tackle. Everyone has force missed tackles, right? Every standard. But when you have force missed tackles, there's also a degree of difficulty for those force missed tackles. For instance, if there's a second level backer and you're lined up in the slot, and all of a sudden you're running a quick slant, and that second level backer is late to reading that making that read as a curl flat defender, curl hook defender, whatever the case may be, he's already in a compromised leverage position. So by default, is that a force missed tackle or it isn't? When it comes to Deebo Samuel, you literally see 4 to 5 guys before he goes down on initial contact. 4 to 5 guys. Cooper Kupp, maybe 2 to 3, which is still a crazy ass number. Like, I'm still saying that Cooper Kupp is probably, yes, he should be in line for MVP. For me to say that he's not, but hey, I'm going to just say Deebo Samuel, to me, what he brings to the table in terms of jet sweep motions, a lot of orbit motions, lining up in the backfield, being the Swiss Army knife, and then also being a 1,000-yard receiver and a security blanket for Jimmy Garoppolo, who is by far a game manager at best. How can you go against Deebo Samuel as the best wide receiver, all-around wide receiver in the entire NFL?
I mean, yeah, I still go with Cooper Kupp personally because.
No, that's fine. That's good. That's good.
Okay, next question. The best.
Oh, there's an echo. There's an echo on your side.
Let me see. I have muted everything.
Okay, go ahead. It's good now.
Best running back.
Best running back in the entire NFL.
Now.
That's a tough one. Obviously, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, to me, is the best running back in the entire NFL. Not only because he has one of the best offensive lines, and that's a byproduct of him having success, but if you, again, look at all the freaking plays he makes between the tackles. And this is not a knock on Derrick Henry, because if Derrick Henry was healthy and Jonathan Taylor was healthy, I think it's a game of 1A versus 1B. Pick your poison, okay? Jonathan Taylor, to me, is just such a good threat coming out of the flat, and I posted this in my pre-draft analysis when he was coming out of college, and that's why I said he was a round 1 pick, and all the NFL draft analysis, big time guys that you see on ESPN, NFL, or a lot of them, no one had him in the first round, but I did. And so that's why I was like, you know what? This guy's going to be something special. Here we are today. Fast forward today. Another beast receipt checks out. That's why I feel like Jonathan Taylor, not only what people don't understand is he's a bigger back, kind of like a throwback style of early 90s type of a running back, kind of like, early 90s, 2000s, whatever the case may be, like an Eddie George type of a deal. But Eddie George was just built like, I don't know, like I was built like Zeus. But to me, Jonathan Taylor, there's no better running back in the game than Jonathan Taylor, because again, he's really good in pass protection too. A lot of people don't talk about this. When the blitz comes, he can pass protect. That's why you see a lot of these running backs who aren't complete backs come down on third downs or obvious passing situations, and then they roll in that third down back, because in pass protection, more times than not, you're going to have a fire zone blitz, you're going to have a blitz up the middle, up the A and B gaps, you're going to have someone coming off, screaming off the edge, and that running back has to be mindful of knowing where all the offensive line calls are and know, hey, look, I can't get out to the flat until I know that my guy, my quarterback, has enough time to make that read. That's just...
I do agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Next question. Best defensive player.
Best defensive player in the entire NFL?
Yes, right now.
Right now, based on my BDF grading system, it has to be Micah Parsons.
Yes.
And again, in my pre-draft analysis, and you know this, I had him ranked number 4 on my big board. When most people had him ranked number 9 and 10, I said, look, this is what you do with Micah Parsons. I explained it, and the Cowboys are using it in the same exact way. And again, another beast receipt. This is why I'm not afraid to put my analysis out there. I'm not a flip-flop or fake, as I like to call it. I don't freaking switch up my analysis in real time in hindsight. I stick to my guns. What I saw with Micah Parsons at Penn State was something that I knew was special, because he can line up in a variety of different roles. And no matter what system he played in, as I always say, is a guy scheme universal or is he a scheme fit, right? Is he scheme universal or is he scheme dependent? These are things you look for, right? Every scout looks at this. Does the guy have a home or does he not have a home? All right, that can be the inverse, could be true as well. But when it comes to Micah Parsons, going back to high school, you can't just go back to college. You have to go back to high school and even middle school sometimes. He played defensive end in high school, and I said this in my pre-draft analysis. I said so you can line him up as an edge rusher. Typically in today's age, we would call them tweeners, right? And Daniel Jeremiah liked my tweet when I was talking to him about Micah Parsons. We would call them tweeners back in the day in the early 90s to the early 2000s, right? With Julian Peterson, right? Drafted by the Niners, number 16 overall. We would call him a tweener. Nowadays, John Abraham, a tweener. Nowadays, we call them edge rushers. And that's what I saw with Micah Parsons. I didn't see a Mike linebacker in a 4-3 base defense. I saw a tweener, someone you can use in a variety of different roles. And that's what you're seeing. If you're watching, and I have grades on Micah Parsons every single snap. He's making me look like a smart man today. But if all else fails, what you can do with Micah Parsons is, again, just like Deebo Samuel is on the offense to the Niners, same thing with Micah Parsons on the defense. Because, again, you can line him up like Fred Warner does in San Francisco with Alvin Kamara going out of flat. You can line up, match him man to man. You saw it against the New York Giants with Saquon Barkley and Micah Parsons. All right. You can also use him as an edge rusher, which I said, and you can use him as a blitzer and as a second level backer. And he can also cover. And I think when you do all those things, I think what you're seeing with Micah Parsons, the Arizona Cardinals were hoping that that's what they were getting when they drafted him the year prior to that. They thought Isaiah Simmons would be what Micah Parsons is today. Now, Isaiah Simmons is having a better year and having a great year this year, but is he on that Micah Parsons level? No. But that's why he went, I believe it was number 8 overall, if I'm not mistaken. Because he played strong safety, because he played free safety, strong safety, slot cornerback, boundary cornerback, linebacker, defensive end. If you look at his snaps at Clemson, he played all those different roles. Micah Parsons, same type of skill set, but he just does it a lot better. And I think that's where today's NFL linebacker or tweener is going toward. Not only do you have to be a traditional pass rusher in a 34 base defense as an outside linebacker or a 4-3 defensive end, but you have to do a multitude of different things. That's why the strong safety with Jamal Adams is becoming obsolete. You can no longer be a Steve Atwater. You can no longer be a Tim McDonald. You can no longer be one of these strong safeties who's a traditional box safety because, again, what you saw in week 13 to today is you're seeing a lot of these safeties being interchanged. More so than in the earlier weeks, right? In the earlier weeks, you're getting acclimated to the cover shells based on down and distance and so forth. Now what defensive coordinators are doing is they're now seeing what they have. And if you have a Tyrann Mathieu, if you have a Budda Baker, if you have a Minkah Fitzpatrick, if you have a Justin Simmons, if you have a Kareem Jackson, you can kind of do these different, Kyle Duggar, right? From New England Patriots. You can kind of play them interchangeably where one comes up. Jimmy Ward did it last week against the Tennessee Titans where he comes up from a high-low concept, coming up, showing a 2-deep safety look, and then comes up as a curl hook defender or curl flat defender based on the cover shell that they're playing. So if you can do that, you have something to go off of. That's why Kyle Hamilton, and I'm going just rambling off the top of my head because I run grades on college game film as well. That's why Kyle Hamilton is going to be coveted as a potential top 5 pick, even for a safety, because of the fact that he could do so many different things. Now, would I draft him in the top 5? I would not. I would not draft him in the top 5, but hey, that's, again, we can talk about that on a different podcast. But when you have guys like that, you can kind of change up your scheme and how you see fit. And I don't think too many people talk about this. What makes these guys so special? Aside from, let's just read a box score and say, Trayvon Diggs has 10 interceptions, he must be good. It's like, no, dude. He's a good ball hawk, yes. I'm not going to knock him on that, but is he like one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL? No, he's not. Not in my grading system. Yeah. So there's a question here. Yo, Beast, what do you make of Brandon Ayuk not wearing Kyle's t-shirt? The rest of the wide receivers were wearing. It's okay. I don't care. I mean, there's been. Oh, there's an echo. There's an echo on your side. Oh, now you're muted. Okay. So there's basically, I wouldn't care. I remember back in high school, my coach had these freaking, like, I don't know what it was. Like, he bought these t-shirts, and I was like, what was it? It had a saying on it. I forgot the slogan. I was like, I'm not wearing this, dude. Like, I don't want to wear it. And I was a team captain. I was like, I ain't wearing this, dude. And I didn't wear it. And so I asked the coach. Well, I had to ask the coach. I was like, hey, is it okay if I don't wear this shirt? Like, I don't feel comfortable wearing this shirt. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. Okay, cool. Now, if he said, no, you have to wear it, you're a team captain, everyone looks up to you, and then I'll be like, oh, crap, okay, well, I don't have a choice. I'd probably throw it inside out and then put it on, so it'd be blank. I'm joking, that's not the way to do it, but I'm not going to go into that. I don't think there's anything there.
I mean, about the earlier point, maybe you should mute when I talk.
Oh, I should mute you? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Huh? What's that?
You muted me. Maybe you should mute yourself when I talk. Shall we
Okay.
try?
Okay. Good.
Okay. I think it's good now. There's a micro. I mean, that's very interesting thing you said about that interchanging players, because not only football, because I played field hockey. When I started as a kid playing field hockey, there were designated roles for your position. If you are playing in the half, if you are playing the back or forward, there were specific roles, and sometimes even, for example, center forward would not come down like 25 yard line beyond the team that you're defending. But now that has changed. Even the players playing in the back defense, they can go up in the field and score goals. It has totally interchanged. Now it's like you, apart from the goalkeeper, all other 10 players have to have the same level of skill set, the speed, ability, dribbling,
Right.
everything. So you can you can take out one player at any given time. You don't have to worry about whether he's a back, forward, or midfield player. So I think that really maps it how the game changes, not just football, overall all the sports. They are looking for this, like, I'm not sure what's the word, maybe hybrid or multi-skill players. That's a
Yeah.
great concept.
Right. Right. Well, thank you so much, Marina, for tuning in today. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And as always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much, my man. Appreciate you.
Okay. Next time.
All right. That was my man, Marina Pereira. All right. We have John J in the house. John J, if you're in, you're in.
What's up? What's up, Beast?
I like how you're going incognito on this, bro.
Well, actually, just a big background. I'm not in my home. I'm actually walking outside because this whole week has been a tough week for me personally. But next week I'll be back on YouTube showing my face again. They're also doing work in my house, so that's why I got to go with the logo. So my apologies.
No, you have nothing to apologize. I'm giving you crap, dude. Don't worry about it. Like I'm just joking with you. How are you been?
Just grinding in life. Just living life,
grinding in
tough
life.
times and the good times.
Yeah, I like it. So we're just going to talk about, we talked about 49ers, John Lynch's Twitter and why he liked and unliked it and why he shouldn't have just left it at that, and that was it. But now we're going to roll into the NFC West. This is how I see it playing out, and we're just going to talk about this a little bit, and then we'll get to your questions. So the NFC West here, and I'm just going to pull it out. I think the Rams are going to pull out the NFC West, and I say that simply because I look at the Cardinals and they're in disarray. Not only that, but their schedule is really tough. I think they have the Cardinals. They are the Cardinals. They have the Colts, Seahawks, and Cowboys, right? Those games are hard to come by. All those teams are going to be tough wins. And I think even if they do make a playoff push, even if they get that one seed or whatever, not one seed, but because I don't see them getting the one seed. But even if they do win the NFC West, right, and they're not going to go far because they're going to be banged up. These are playoff teams, right? Seahawks, to me, are playing playoff football. If you look at what they did early in the year on defense, Ken Norton has really transitioned that team into a really back old school throwback, back when he played with the Niners in that 4-3 base defense, along with Gary Plummer, Lee Woodall. They had some hard hitters back there, and I think that's what he's doing. He's like, hey, man, we have Jordan Brooks. We drafted this guy at Texas Tech in the first round. We can use this guy how we see fit. Same thing with, obviously, he's got Bobby Wagner there. He's the leader. But then you have Poona Ford. You have Carlos Dunlap coming alive now for the first 3 weeks first 3 quarters of the season. Has been, I don't know where the hell he's been. But he's back after, they released him because he was owed like 15 something million. Now came back on a 1-year prove-it deal, if I'm not mistaken. and he's back on the team, and he's now having a good year in the second half of the season. So they're really starting to click. And so there's no gimmies with the Arizona Cardinals. That's why I think they're going to freaking choke. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to choke. They're not going to win the NFC West. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. But again, I said this in week 13 on Twitter. My predictions. I said 3 teams are going to come out of the NFC West. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the tiebreakers, if you look at the common opponents, if you look at everything, how tiebreakers work in the NFL, and then you look at the landscape of their respective schedules, and obviously I grade every single snap of every single team, I can kind of put 2 and 2 together, how they're going to scheme it up. I can have a good idea of how things are going to shape up. I don't think that less than 2 NFC West teams all 3 are going to make it. And the one game to watch is the New Orleans Saints. Because when you look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, when you look at teams like the Minnesota Vikings, the Niners hold the tiebreakers against them. So even if they finish with the same exact record, they hold the tiebreaker there. It comes down to the Saints. You look at the Saints, they're 7-7, and the way their defense played against Tampa Bay Bucks quarterback Tom Brady, where he shut him out. In fact, here's a fun stat for you guys. Did you know that was the first time, well, obviously the first time he's been shut out at home in a long time, or ever, I think. But more than that, here's a stat is no active defensive player was even in the league when that happened, like before that happened. So it's like Tom Brady has been having a huge track record, and it's just crazy how the Saints just shut him out. Whether it be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who I've always been a huge supporter here in the BWF in my grading system, right? Number 22, a free safety, can play slot cornerback, whatever the case may be. You obviously have Marshawn Lattimore there. You have Williams there, Marcus Williams. A lot of different, Paulson Adebo, who they got out of Stanford in the 3rd round, I believe, or 2nd round. They have guys there. So Demario Davis, Cam Jordan playing at a first team All-Pro level, my grading system, Pro Bowler there. Man, they're one team I think that is really finding their stride because their offense has to catch up to their defense. So that's how I see the NFC West playing out, and that's why I think the Saints are going to be one team to watch when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers in terms of seeding. All right, what is on your mind today, bro?
Well, after, Thursday night's game, I was, angry, watching that performance. I knew the Titans were going to be a really good test, so I didn't really count them out. But the way we played, I'm not even going to talk about the quarterback. Let's just, not even go there. The defense, I don't know what happened in the second half. I don't know what kind of adjustments. But the wide receivers were getting a lot of open space. Tannehill, in the second half, got into a rhythm, and I don't know what happened. Like the game was still close. We can always be like, hey, let's blame the quarterback. This and that. But I don't know what happened in that game. The game was very close. It was very, very close. The Niners came back with that touchdown. Gave a little bit of life, but Titans had the ball at the end. They capitalized. They won the game. So. It's just hard for me to understand what I saw in that game. Maybe you can tell me more, but I was just not happy watching that game in general. So that's what I wanted to talk about.
All right, I'll tell you. I graded every single snap before hopping on this show on this Christmas Day. The grind don't stop for Beast. So here we go. All right, let's start with Ambry Thomas. And I hate the narrative that's being pushed, and I hate's a strong word, but I hate it. When people are saying Ambry Thomas is actually doing well. No, he's not. Watch the coach's film. Watch the game film. I got plays to back it up. Here's my notes as I grade every single snap. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right. Second quarter, 146. It was a cover 4 coverage and a 3-by-2 formation to the right. You saw K'Wan Williams play the flat. Warner takes the seam. Ward climbs up to help Warner. All right. Because Warner was beat. So now Jimmy Ward has to climb up and help Warner. Thomas was then left on an island in that cover 4 shell. Boundary to the numbers to the boundary. All right. Thomas plays with outside leverage pre-snap and gets beat outside. Doesn't turn head. Doesn't turn his head. It should have been a defensive PI. No call. You cannot, again, before I even go on and talk about the other plays that he was playing poorly at, you cannot count on doing that and getting the pass. You can't. It was a defensive pass interference, and he got lucky. It wasn't called. All right. Here's another play. This is all within the 2-minute drill. Ryan Tannehill saw that. He's like, you know what? Damn, let's go back and attack Ambry Thomas to end the second half in the 2-minute drill. All right, so here we go. Second quarter, 139. Again, they play a cover 4 shell, soft cover shell, and a 3-by-1 set to the right. All right. Titans take a page from the Bengals playbook. I talked about this on Twitter, how you kind of use the high-low concept, right? A high-low concept is where you have a slot wide receiver, and then you have a wide receiver with a split end outside, right? Or a flanker. And what you're doing is you're angling the same direction. So it's a high-low concept, right? What you're seeing there is you're seeing that slot receiver take away that curl flat defender. So when that slot receiver is taking away that curl flat defender, which in this case would be, I believe it was K'Waun Williams, he has to take on that responsibility. And Ambry Thomas, who is playing boundary outside, then has to take on that outside receiver, even though he's playing zone coverage, because again, it's a high-low concept. That ball should have been completed to Westbrook, but it fell incomplete because it was a bad pass by Tannehill. This is something that the Bengals have used, and I put it out on Twitter because I knew other teams were going to use it. That's the blueprint of how to attack the 49ers cover 4 shell. There's no way, because there's Fuga involved, which is F up the gray area. There's no way for that curl flat defender to be in 2 places at once. It's really impossible. We all want to be in 2 places at once, but it's not like the Umbrella Academy on Netflix. We can't do that. All right. So with that being said, that curl flat defender has to come to a decision. Does he help out Ambry Thomas and play that assignment? No. You're supposed to take on that role as a slot receiver, because again, that's your responsibility. And then you just have to have Ambry Thomas, who's playing with outside leverage, just get beat deep on that quick slant. All right. Ball luckily fell incomplete. Again, we cannot say Ambry Thomas had a good game. Here's another one. Third quarter, 7:21. They're playing man-to-man, all right, to the right. Tannehill doesn't go back shoulder, allowing Thomas back into the play by default against A.J. Brown. All right, A.J. Brown should have caught that touchdown for an interception. Should have caught that ball for a touchdown, but it was a poorly thrown pass by Tannehill. That had nothing to do with Ambry Thomas's coverage skills. All right, has nothing to do with his cover skills. That should have been a back shoulder pass where only the receiver can catch it, and it didn't happen. He allowed Ambry Thomas back into the play by default because it was a poorly thrown ball inside. All right, these are things that you look for when you watch coaches film. And then that 42-yard bomb, let's talk about that. Right? All this, if you remember, you just mentioned the second half. So this is why I'm talking about the second half. I'm talking about how the tail end of the first half ended in the 2-minute drill, how they then adjusted, as in the Tennessee Titans passing game, adjusted, and they said, you know what, we're going to attack Ambry Thomas. Here we go. 42-yard bomb, all right? This one really gets me. It's all about playing fundamentals when you're a boundary cornerback. I don't care about anything else, but you have to play with sound fundamentals, all right? Here, Ambry Thomas was in a bail technique. A bail technique is when you're lined up, and he's lined up 6 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage with his back to the sideline, looking through the receiver to the quarterback. All right, that's called a bail technique. Now, if you're in the press bail technique, we can talk about that. That's a little bit different in how you want to leverage that split. All right. He was playing with inside leverage. All right. He was playing with inside leverage pre-snap. Fundamentals 101 says, no, you're supposed to play that with outside leverage because, again, your back is to the freaking sideline looking through the receiver to the... Okay, anyways, whatever. It's common sense. What happened was, while he was in a slightly trail mode, he then gets beat outside as A.J. Brown runs out. How do you get beat when you're supposed to... Anyways, whatever. He runs outside and then turns inside, doesn't look to play the man and then the ball because, again, if you're playing the ball first, you're kind of doing no justice because you have to know where the man is because obviously the quarterback's throwing to the man. You play man then ball. It's kind of football 101. And then at the catch point, because you're a smaller defensive back and you're going against A.J. Brown, who has a higher vertical than you, I think, when the ball's in the air, or maybe they're evened up, I think Ambry Thomas has a 37.5-inch vertical. I think A.J. Brown's like at 35 or 36. So it's kind of like a 50-50 ball. But even at the 50-50 ball, if A.J. Brown jumps first, even in basketball, right? Just like when I played basketball in high school, if a guy's going up for a rebound and he jumps first, you're kind of SOL. Doesn't matter. Like, he beat you to the, his fast twitch muscles beat you to the point. He jumped. Ambry Thomas, next best bet. He should have, again, played man then ball, but then also put his hand between the receiver's numbers to kind of break up that pass, and he didn't do it. And bat that ball down, or potentially bat that ball down. And that's what happened. And now he's not the only problem. Josh Norman, oh my gosh, don't make it start on Josh Norman, who was playing man-to-man coverage and gave up that touchdown. How can you give a guy an inside free release off the line of scrimmage and then not get your hands on him once you're in the end zone? This is something that Nick Saban preaches, all right? It does no justice if you let a wide receiver run to the end zone and then getting your hands on them in the end zone. It doesn't do, like, what's the point of that? Like, it's too late. So these are things that need to be coached up. I think the players should already know this because they're in the NFL. But there's a reason why Josh Norman was signed off the street. There's a reason why Ambry Thomas was not active for the first few weeks of the year and they rolled with D.L. Lenore. That's the problem. And when you don't have Talanoa Hufanga on the back end there because he was out, that kind of hurts you, because even though Talanoa Hufanga is not, he's not the best coverage range safety, but he's not the worst. He's good. Even for a rookie, I think he's really good for a rookie. So when you don't have him in the mix, and then you try to roll cover 4 and ride a soft cover shell throughout the game, that's like playing prevent defense in the second half. And it's not so much a knock on DeMeco Ryans, because if I was DeMeco Ryans, I would do the same exact thing. I would roll a cover 4 because I don't trust Ambry Thomas or D.L. Lenore to hold up in their respective zone coverage. That's why I say sign a guy off the street. You're not learning a new system. You're just playing zone coverage. I don't know. But what do I know? Mm-hmm. That's what happened, bro. That's exactly what happened, and that's a big reason why they didn't do so hot. The defense actually played well. I think Fred Warner played well. I think DJ Jones had a nice game. Obviously, the defense was playing well. Bosa was getting pressure. Arden Key was getting pressure. A lot of these guys are playing well, but at the end of the day, it does you no justice if you don't have a boundary quarterback who can at least sustain coverage for 2 seconds. Because what's going to happen, again, this is the blueprint. You can't go into a deep playoff run hoping, and anybody who says Ambry Thomas is playing well, I would argue, I just freaking pointed out why not. And again, if you don't watch coaches film, you're not going to see what I'm talking about. But then that's why you have me, because a lot of you guys don't have coaches film. But I mean, even to the naked eye, it's like, if you played the game of football, you would know football fundamentals 101. Like jamming the receiver off the line of scrimmage, illegal hands to the face 2 times last week. What the hell? What the heck, right? What's up with that? The fundamentals, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? Even you know that, John Jay. Mm-hmm. You can't hit a guy in his face. Yep. Right? And again, what's your target area, right? So again, it comes down to the target area. Once you line up and that ball, there's a lot of things we can talk about fundamentals, right? But coming off the line of scrimmage, what you see with Ambry Thomas is once he gets a jam on the receiver, again, you're going up against people with different heights, right? A guy who's 6'4" as opposed to a guy who's 5'11". So again, when you jam the receiver, the one thing that has to be constant or consistent is how are you going to jam off the line of scrimmage? Do you jam with your right arm? Do you jam with your left arm? Where do you hit him? Where in the chest plate do you hit him? Do you hit him straight on? Do you just, it's this, you can't go to the face. You can't have anything when you jam, right? You jam right here, because if you get your fingers caught up there, it's going to hurt. When you jam, you want to make sure that you throw him off guard, but that it doesn't rise up into the guy's face mask. I don't know what's going on there. But these things need to get cleaned up. And that's why when people said, oh, we need to ride Ambry Thomas because D.L. Lenore's not getting it done. And I said, on BWF, I said it in real time as we were watching the games, covering the games live. I said, no, you actually think Ambry Thomas is going to be better than D.L. Lenore? If that was the case, he'd be playing over D.L. Lenore because he was a third round pick, right? He was drafted higher. Not the case. I don't know. That's what happened, bro. That's exactly what happened. And then Jimmy Garoppolo can't be making these stupid mistakes. Come on, let's call it how we see it, man. Jimmy Garoppolo can't be making dumb mistakes, bro.
Yeah. I saw the film. A lot of people watch the highlights, and the highlights don't really show nothing. But when he threw that ball, I was
Which
wondering
one?
what he was
Which ball?
doing. So then they showed, what
Which ball?
Kittle
Which
was.
ball? But which ball? Which
Jimmy
ball are you talking
Garoppolo
about?
when he threw the first interception in the end zone.
Yeah.
When I saw it on TV, I did not see a receiver, but when I saw, the direction, when you look towards the end zone, Kittle was basically right behind the defender, and he threw the ball right at that defender's direction. And I'm saying, why are you throwing the football that way? We could talk about Kyle Juszczyk, that throw, that was also a headache, to watch, when you watched it again. And then, of course, the second interception, he overthrew Deebo Samuel. That ball went over his head. So for a lot of people who just watch the highlights don't really show much. But when you watch, what Garoppolo is looking at, you could tell why he's throwing the balls at those directions. But at the same time, the balls were not coming out perfectly. There was always a wobble. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
That a lot of people they just look at the highlights. Oh, he threw the interception, but you also have to look at what the quarterback is looking in. It is true what I hear, from people who actually, study and they watch the film, is that Garoppolo trusts too much on George Kittle, and a good quarterback, when he sees that his primary target is double teamed or being guarded, you look for your checkdowns, or you look for another wide open receiver, and I think everyone already knows this, that Jimmy always looks at his first read. He never looks at anywhere else. He basically drops back and throws the first direction he sees. So that's the thing that is so infuriates me. Like, you've been this quarterback now for I don't know how many games now. He's missed a lot of games as well, but come on, man, you're in your 30s now, and you're still doing the same mistakes that the rookies are doing, of this draft class is doing. So that's the thing that makes me upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I pointed out. George Kittle being a one-read quarterback. I mean, all that's on Twitter. Beast Receipts, check out. I said that since 2018. When I covered the Niners in 2018, obviously as a beat writer up in the press box and then talking to coaches, talking to players and so forth. This is nothing new. So this is old news in the BWF as far as being the security. This is old news. But it is a concern. The thing that I think what people don't understand once you watch coaches film is Jimmy Garoppolo actually thought George Kittle would win that battle on the box out. And you'll notice how that leverage worked in George Kittle's favor at the time that he broke off his route, because he was looking to box out Jackrabbit Jenkins, who's a lot smaller. And I talked about this earlier, but I'll just rehash it because if you just tuned in, or for those who tuned in. But what happened was it was a straight cover 4. Right. And what happened was Jackrabbit Jenkins was playing with outside leverage, and George Kittle was naturally playing inside leverage. And once he gained and reached the end zone at the reception point, George Kittle was supposed to box out Janoris Jenkins, which he did, but it wasn't enough, because if you saw on that play, Jackrabbit Jenkins was in a slightly trail mode on the hip of the receiver, and that was just a great play by Jenkins, basically making a play on the football. Now, was it forced in coverage? Yes, absolutely, because at the end of the day, you're looking at the catching radius and you're saying, hey, that's a 50-50 ball at best, and down inside the red zone, and we're on a scoring drive or a potential scoring drive. Do you want to take that calculated risk of forcing the ball and force feeding George Kittle, even though that was a 50-50 ball, because more times than not, he's going to come down with it because he's the first team All-Pro? I would say no. I would say, throw the ball away. But I think in Jimmy Garoppolo's defense in real time, because we can criticize all we want in hindsight. It's easy for us to do it. And I'm guilty of doing it too, because it's in hindsight. But in real time, when you look at it and you see that, you have to be smart enough as a quarterback to say, hey, look, just throw the ball out of bounds, live to play another down. And this is stuff that I've been saying since 2018. I covered Jimmy ever since he came in the league, or came to the 49ers in 2017. So, yeah, this is nothing new. This is really nothing new. It's just, it's not so much frustrating. I think this is just what he is. He is what he is. And I think we just have to accept that.
Yeah. Well, Beast, I wanted to say before I go, like, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everything, everybody, whatever you celebrate. Of course, Beast, it was a little surprise that you were on today, so I wanted to hop on a little bit, say hello. And like I said, I'm going to be away from YouTube for about a week, dealing with my Christmas, which I'm supposed to be hanging with family. I'm dealing with a lot of BS as well. But it's good to see you. It gave me a little bit of a bright spot today, so I really appreciate everything you do, man.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, man, and always a pleasure talking to you, John Jay. I appreciate it, and mahalo for the love, and you and your family. I hope you have a fun and safe one today, all right? All right, that was John Jay here in the BWF. All right, so Kim Ferrison, the Hofstra product, says Jimmy, 27 million per year. He cannot keep making rookie mistakes. Yeah, it's really concerning. Trent Payne from the BEASTwriter Family, haven't seen you in a while. Merry Christmas to you. He says, I find Jimmy to be too mentally weak to be an elite quarterback. But hey, it's one of those things. It's just one of those things. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Now, is the grass greener on the other side? I don't know. Look at how many. Would you rather have Davis Mills as your starting quarterback? Who would you want? Davis Mills or Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, Davis Mills from Stanford. Oh, what about Tyrod Taylor? No, dude. I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. But at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is, if you look at it, right? Look at it objectively. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably ranking 17th best quarterback, 20th best quarterback in the NFL. He's still better than 12 quarterbacks in the league. Like I said, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or Jimmy Garoppolo? We can talk about Trevor Lawrence's potential, but I said, and I'm sticking to my guns, that I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. Beast receipts, will that check out? I don't know. I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm sticking to it. Zach Wilson, I think he's going to be fine, but he needs weapons. I'm higher on Zach Wilson than I am Trevor Lawrence. My big board reflects that. All right. My man Bunk says, I know Trey only played in the FCS, but I think Skip Bayless might have a point. If Trey started day one, he'd be right where Jimmy is right now. I don't think so. Bunk, I would have to disagree with this. Respectfully disagree. Not saying I'm right, not saying I'm wrong, but I would respectfully disagree here in the BWF. And Bunk, I know we are on the same wavelength majority of the times, but this is what I said. And again, I talked to my boy Randy Mueller about this, who, as you guys know, former NFL GM, 2000 GM of the year with the New Orleans Saints, worked with the Seahawks and a lot of these different teams. Miami Dolphins with Nick Saban, whatever. He's done it all. Talk to him. He said that, well, I respect the GM, current GM that he is buddies with, said that Trey Lance is a year away from being away. And I talked about this. Coming from the FCS, even before Randy hopped on the show and provided that analysis, I said, look, I agree. In my pre-draft analysis, anytime you convert FCS talent to the FBS talent, and then FBS talent to a Power 5 conference defense talent, and then Power 5 to the SEC to the NFL, that's a lot of layers of the onion to get to the core, as I always like to say. So I would disagree. I don't think Trey Lance is ready. If he was, he'd be playing. And for what I'm hearing, people don't feel he's ready inside the building. So I'm just going to roll with that. But that's not to say Trey Lance is not going to be great. I didn't say that. I think Trey Lance is going to be, potentially could be special. I like Trey Lance. Trent Payne said Trey didn't exactly look hot. If he had a 3 touchdown game, there you go. He'd still be in there. Yes, that's very true. And can't say I disagree because what do I know? What do you know, Beast? I love it when people try to challenge me. It's just Feed the Beast. I think I'm going to have a Feed the Beast segment. Well, Michael Miller ranted on me. If you guys haven't seen that live stream, Michael Miller ranted on me and says, what do you know? I'm older than you and you don't know nothing, and they should trade Fred Warner for a shutdown cornerback. And I'm like, okay, school me, bro, because I can talk shop. Class is in session. We can do this. Just feed the beast, and we can just ramble. We can just talk off the top of my head. Nothing in front of us. It's kind of like, remember that ESPN show, Stump the Schwab? Well, let's stump the beast. Let's go. Nothing in front of us. Let's just go. We'll talk football. You're older than me? Cool. Cool story, bro. Does it mean you know more than me? No. Just like someone younger than me. If someone younger than me, does that necessarily mean that I know more than him because I'm older? No. I don't know. I just think that's such a wrong take. That's the wrong way about going about business. When you think you're a know-it-all, I think you need to be humble enough to know that, hey, there's always someone better, and you always have to be constantly growing, constantly learning. Otherwise, you're not going to have that hunger for success. So the same hunger for success that you had that got you to the point that you're at. Just my opinion. And I know you guys love my Fitspirations on Instagram. I know you guys want my workout videos. I did post one on Instagram for all you guys. For all you guys that have been following me for fitness. There's a lot of you guys that just follow me for fitness rather than football. I shouldn't say a lot. I would say about 35%. And then, lo and behold, I've had my shirt off showing a workout. People, put your shirt back on. What are you doing? It's like, dude, I get paid for it. Like, I'm a sponsored athlete. Like, do I have to explain to you how I pay my bills? No. I don't go out of my way and say, yeah, I get paid for this. I just do it, and then the trolls start coming in. It's great. Let them troll. They don't know my grind. They don't know my rise. All right. So, EvoGen, I see you. That's the team I'm on. Omar Ventura, Omar V33. You guys know who Omar V33 is? If you don't know, Olympia coach for Raymond Edmonds. He's also my coach. Raymond Edmonds, Lucky Libra. You guys know who these guys are, right? If you're in the NPC, IFBB. Professional bodybuilding world. Shout out to Muscle Contests. Shout out to Spectrum Fitness Productions. This is not a paid advertising. I'm just giving a shout out to my peeps out there. All right. Now people are going to look. What's Center Podium? Shout out to Center Podium. Shout out to Bay Rooted. Yeah. People are like, what the heck is this guy talking? Beast is going crazy on Christmas. Merry Christmas come early, guys. No, but in all seriousness, that this is what we're like to do on Instagram. It's all about Fitspiration. All right, let's get to some of your questions. I know there's some questions on Twitter. Jeez Louise, there is some questions in DMs. You guys like sending DMs more so than going public with it, which is nice. It's a nice touch because I get it. It's more intimate. You guys don't want the world on Twitter. There's so many trolls. Like, what do you know? What are you doing? All right, Mongo Slade on Twitter after AJ Brown single-handedly destructed our secondary. Are the Foreigners any closer to signing Breeland? Are they banking on Mosley's return? I think they're banking on Mosley's return. I don't think they're going to sign Bashad Breeland, but who knows? Honestly, I think the team's going to be like, oh yeah, we're confident in Ambry Thomas. I think D'Amico Ryan's going to go on record and say, you know what, confident in Ambry Thomas. He's getting better. He's improving each day. Listen, this is how the press conference is going to go with D'Amico Ryan's. Oh, so what do you think of Ambry Thomas? Oh man, he's doing really well. We're really happy with his progress, and he's really learning the system. Really thought he played well last week against the Titans. And the future is bright for the kid. Okay, we'll see. I disagree. All right. All right, here we go. What else we got going on here? All right. So everyone's talking about the Cleveland Browns game. Let's watch about that. Get a DM. All right, here's another one. Who should the 49ers draft next year? Well, that's a loaded question because, again, we have to see how the draft plays out. We don't even know. And I already said this. Niners are going to hold a first-round pick. How? They're going to trade up in the tail end of the first round and get their guy so everybody's happy, including myself. They're going to have to trade up in the draft to get someone who they like at a position of need if they don't do anything in free agency, which probably will happen because boundary quarterbacks are expensive. They're hot off the market every year, even if the surprise cuts. Who's going to be this year's Kyle Fuller? I don't know. But again, Kyle Fuller costs a lot of money. That's why the Broncos got rid of him. They dumped his contract. And he reunited himself in Denver with his former DC Vic Fangio. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for this podcast. If you like what we had to say, please hit the subscribe button. Oh, we got Kim Ferrison. He said he did better than Norman. Norman did horrible. I think they both played extremely horribly. In fact, I got grades, bro. I got grades on that. Let me just pull it up for you. And I'm not even done with my grades, but here's what I have so far. All right, Josh Norman was targeted 4 times, 3 of those being completions, and he gave up, crap load of yards. Let's see, 16, let me do the math. 57 yards, which is, to this point, the worst on the team. Furthermore, he also gave up a first down and a touchdown. So I would say, based on my grading system, that Josh Norman had the worst game, bro. Based on my grading system up to this point. Kim Ferrison said, will Jimmy have any trade value after this national televised game? Yes. Yes, because if you look at a team like the Steelers and GM Kevin Colbert, he can look at this and say, you know what, Big Ben is retiring. We can use a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, because who do we have? We have Deontay Johnson. All right, so we have our speed demon. We have our 1,000-yard receiver. We have Pat Freiermuth, who drafted in the second round out of Iowa. All right, Pat Freiermuth. You guys don't know who Pat Freiermuth is. They call him Muth in Pittsburgh. Great player. Right, for all you fantasy football owners, you guys know who I'm talking about. They also have running back Najee Harris, my draft crush, Roll Tide Roll, Bay Area rooted. All right. They also have, James Washington, probably going to be gone. He requested a trade. He wants out. Juju Smith-Schuster came back on a 1-year deal, and he got injured, is now out for the year. Is he going to return on another 1-year prove-it deal? I think yes, because he took down less money to stay in Pittsburgh rather than go to the Baltimore Ravens, which is why I believe the Chiefs got Sammy Watkins. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be a nice fit. Now, can he survive that young offensive line with Dan Moore Jr. on the blindside left tackle? Can they survive Kendrick Green as an offensive center who's struggling? Even though they're improving in the second half of the season, they're still not high on those guys. Is Trey Turner going to be there, the veteran? What's going to happen to Kevin Dotson, the Raging Cajun, 4th-round pick, the first Raging Cajun to be drafted by GM Kevin Colbert or by the Steelers since Ike Charlton? Is he healthy? Going to be healthy next year? I don't know. What about Chuck Okorafor? What about Zach Banner? You know, they have a really, really revamped offensive line. It's going to cause trouble. Can Jimmy Garoppolo get it? I don't know. But that's one piece. I can see Jimmy Garoppolo in Pittsburgh. And I would love it. I would love Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he'll be successful in Pittsburgh. I really do. Because when you ride Najee Harris, that's all you had to do. You just ride Najee Harris and just solidify that offensive line and defensive line. Tyson Alualu is out. Right? He's out for the year. I think he fractured his ankle in friendly fire. Stephon Tuitt wasn't playing because he has mental health issues. Also has some knee issues. Devin Bush was banged up this year a little bit, right? You had a lot of people with groin injuries, as in Alex Highsmith, the 3rd-round pick that they got, replacing Bud Dupree, who we just saw with the Tennessee Titans, right? Number 48. If you guys don't know who Bud Dupree is number 56, Alex Highsmith, going to be get done? Because in my grading system, he's playing at an average level. He's an average football player at best right now. And I thought he was going to be an all-pro talent because he was playing at one last year. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Steelers let Bud Dupree go. And they had to re-sign, obviously, TJ Watt. Robert Spillane wasn't getting it done in pass coverage. They traded for Joe Schobert. Joe Hayden's not going to be back next year. You can bet your top dollar on that. If there's a prop bet on Joe Hayden coming back, I would say no. They already got rid of Steven Nelson, which is a good call. He was the worst graded defensive back in my grading system last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This year it's now James Pierre, number 42. Rolling Ahkello Witherspoon. What if the Niners had Ahkello Witherspoon? He's doing well for Pittsburgh. Huh. Who said that? Oh, yeah, I did. Another beast receipt checks out. And that's when Ahkello Witherspoon's cousin was on the show, and he's like, moments before signing with the Seahawks, he was like, hey, what do you think about my cousin, Ahkello Witherspoon? And I was like, oh, man, here we go. I was like, you know what? I got grades. Let me just keep it unfiltered. I think he's going to do well. This is why. Now he's playing well in Pittsburgh. Go figure. They also have Trey Norwood there. I like him a lot. Being a slot cornerback, he can also play safety. I think he can play safety. But what are they going to do with Minkah Fitzpatrick? They traded it for him, What are they going to do with Minkah Fitzpatrick? Coming over from the Miami Dolphins. Are they going to re-sign him to a big deal? A lot of safeties coming up for big deals. Just in that back end alone. The 49ers aren't the only one that has a strong safety. due for unrestricted free agency because Terrell Edmonds, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Holla at your boy. First-round pick. Declined his 5th-year option. He's now up for grabs at the end of the year. Playing at the same level as Jaquiski Tartt is for the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are going to roll Talanoa Hufanga next year. Count your top dollar on that. Is there a prop bet on that? I'm taking it. Because can Jaquiski Tartt stay healthy? I don't think so. Hasn't proven it. There's a lot of different things we can talk about, guys. A lot of different teams. Kim Ferguson says they do have a great coaching staff and stacked team in place for him. Yeah, Steelers are stacked, bro. They're stacked. Cam Hayward, again, if you're watching Cam, he likes all my tweets and retweets me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Cam. He loves my BW grading system, by the way. Cam Hayward, if you're watching, you are a monster, which you already know that. But they're really stacked. On defense, offensive line has been shaky, man. I think they need to do something with that offensive line. I think with their first-round pick, you have to solidify down in the trenches if you're going to play in a 34 base defense, because anytime you bring back Henry Mondro from the practice squad, release him, waive him, comes back, whatever, Henry Mondro sucks. And then you have Montavious Street. I like him. They stole him from the practice squad. And I like him, but he's been dealing with, I think it's COVID now. But he's a beast. He might be someone. Isaiah Buggs has been in and out. Roll Tide roll. But you got to get younger on that defensive line. You really have to get younger there. And Stephon Tuitt, we don't know, having been 1 year out, how he's going to do. So in the draft, you really want to look at guys like Jordan Davis. And I know any GM and any scout would look at this and be like, you never draft a 2-gap space eater in the first round. I mean, there's people who say that, literally. But is Jordan Davis going to be that Haloti Nada type of a presence? I don't think so. But Jordan Davis is a beast in his own right. He's definitely a top 15 pick. Kind of like a Raekwon Davis type of a deal, right? Roll Tide roll. SEC guys always, I just love SEC guys. I don't know. Raekwon Davis, Roll Tide roll. Then by the way, speaking of Raekwon Davis, going off topic, if you guys watch Inside the NFL on Paramount Plus, I suggest you do that. Raekwon Davis just freaking laid a stiff arm or an open hand, whatever you want to call it, to Baker, the linebacker. And I don't know if that's because it's a Ohio State Roll Tide roll rivalry or what, but Tua Tagovailoa had to have Baker's back and say, yeah, that was cool. And then the guy's like, what I do? Baker's like, what I do, dude? What I do deserve that, bro. Kind of played it off, but that looked like it hurt. Just saying, pregame warm-ups. Check it out. It's only on Inside the NFL, Paramount Plus. Bunk says, happy holidays, everyone. Yes, happy holidays. Happy holidays, happy holidays. But speaking of the Steelers have a good team. Obviously, we can talk the rundown about the NFC West. We can talk about, is Andrew Whitworth going to be returning? What's going to happen with Cam Akers? Is he going to be coming back and be 100%? I don't know. Is Robert Woods going to be coming back 100%? I don't know. These are all question marks. You have Tutu Atwell there. You drafted him in the second round. Tutu Atwell out of Louisville, if I'm not mistaken. Tutu Atwell. And then they got D. Eskridge in the Pacific Northwest. And then Rondale Moore in Arizona. And then Niners were like, man, we should have just went after Asante Samuel instead of trading down with the Las Vegas Raiders and selecting Aaron Banks. My man Tony Lewis from the BEASTwriter Family says, happy holidays, bro. Happy holidays to you and your family. Happy holidays to Bunk. Happy holidays to Kim. We have a lot of people on here. I know you guys are all surprised. Like, man, BEASTwriter's actually on the YouTube live stream. He's not running his BWF grading system. Well, it's a Friday. I am going to be watching these games after this concludes. Running coach's film. Obviously, I ran coach's film on the Titans-Niners game. Caught up with the previous week as well. So there's a lot to talk about off the top of my head. We can talk about Pro Bowl snubs, which, by the way, how is Justin Simmons not in the Pro Bowl? Weird. How is Bobby Wagner in the Pro Bowl? Really, Bobby Wagner in the Pro Bowl? I run grades. Definitely not a top off-ball linebacker in today's NFL. I'm sorry. Fred Warner's still better, even though he's not having the best year. Or give me Roquan Smith for that matter. Holla. Holla at your boy. Mind blown. How is Jeffrey Simmons? Speaking of the Simmons brothers, they're not brothers, obviously, but it's Jeffrey Simmons for the Saints. How is he not a Pro Bowler? But yet, Chris Jones is. What? This is a household name contest. Jeffrey Simmons, man, I could have got a signing bonus. I could have got an incentive bonus for this, for making the Pro Bowl, and I'm not even voted to the Pro Bowl, and I'm having a better year than Chris Jones based on BWF's grading system? What? Jeffrey Simmons, Grind Simmons 94, you're having a good year, man. Huge supporter here in the BWF. Hey, you might get my first team All-Pro vote for PFWA, Pro Football Writers Association, at the end of the year, so keep playing the way you're playing. Same with you, Justin Simmons. Darius Leonard, best off-ball linebacker in the NFL, hands down. He has COVID based on what my man What's Up G says. I don't know if he's going to be playing. But Darius Leonard, no better linebacker in the game. Off-ball. Micah Parsons, definitely going to get my first team All-Pro vote if he continues playing the way he is. Tyrann Mathieu should be a starter in the Pro Bowl. I don't know why he's a reserve. I don't know. I disagree with that. But every year there's those guys, right? There's always those 3-4 guys that are Pro Bowl snubs. It's like, huh? And it comes down to being a household name. It's a household name contest. It's a box score reading contest. Hey, how is Trayvon Diggs top 5 in the Pro Bowl voting? He's not even graded average in my grading system. I take that back. He is average, but I'm joking. But he's not better than average. Gives up way too much. First downs, big plays, touchdowns, penalties. Hitting yardage, all that matters. Oh, but he has 10 interceptions and leads the league. Man. I bet you if you go back and see all the people who made the Pro Bowl based on how many interceptions they had, dating back to 2000, you would find people like Deltha O'Neal and be like, no offense to Deltha O'Neal, Bay Area rooted product, Milpitas Trojan right down the street from me. But Deltha, if you're watching, you gave up a lot, bro. And you still made the Pro Bowl. Coming out of Berkeley. I like Deltha O'Neal, though, because he was a ball hawk. Number 24. All right. Well, he also played running back in high school. That'll be it for today. I hope you liked what we had to say. If you did, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Again, thank you so much. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for all the hearts, all the likes, all the engagement here, all the questions. I really appreciate it. Hope all of you have a happy and safe Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day on this Christmas afternoon, well, evening, wherever you are. And that'll be it for today. Thank you so much. Take care. BEASTwriter out.